It's Kyle here, and today I'll be reviewing Chapter 18 of The Mandalorian, The Mines of Mandalore. Before I get started with the review, if you have not watched this episode yet, please stop watching this review, go watch this episode, and then come back and watch this because this review will include spoilers. With that warning out of the way, let's get started talking about the second episode of Season 3 of The Mandalorian. Overall, I really enjoyed this episode. I definitely preferred it over the season premiere. Had a couple small issues with it, but for the most part, I really enjoyed and loved the episode. One of the things I think surprised me about the episode, from how the season premiere set up the season, I think obviously everybody was expecting to get to Mandalore at some point this season. I was not expecting to get to Mandalore in the second episode, especially after the events of the first episode. The kind of after the season premiere, the kind of first mission that was seemingly being set up was to find the chip for IG. After his visit to Navarro, I think a lot of people assumed, like, all right, this is going to be kind of the first side quest for the season. So it did surprise me to kind of see the second episode start off with him going to Tatooine to see Peli to, see if she can help him track down the park. And so far, that's been kind of like her big role, is kind of being, repairing stuff for him, but also tracking down tech and stuff for him. Not surprisingly, she brings in the Jawas, and they basically tell him, sorry, we don't have that part. And this is the part that kind of surprised me, and I guess my first, logic issue with the episode, especially based on how episode 1 set it up, is he basically says, all right, can't find the chip, it's going to be nearly impossible to find. Why don't you just take this R5 unit that's next to me that's nearly falling apart? And first Din kind of resists, but then she just kind of insists on it. And he's like, okay. And that was kind of it. So I don't know, are we completely dropping the IG storyline? If we are, I don't get that, why that was included in the first episode. It seems like if you're immediately dropping it, I don't know why you would even bring it up at that point. If you wanted to string along a few episodes and it just becomes clear he can't find it, but for him to give up that quickly, and if we know anything about Din, he does not give up easily. So for him to kind of move on that quickly, I didn't quite buy that. So that was maybe my biggest complaint about the episode. But with that out of the way, I enjoyed the visit to Tatooine. I enjoyed seeing Peli again. I loved how excited she was to see Grogu, how she believed he said his first word. I think with that tease, I'm getting a feeling that at some point this season he will say something. So that'll be very curious to see if that does happen. But I think with them kind of teasing it a little bit, I don't know why they would tease that without maybe having that be a payoff later in the season. I did enjoy getting the R5 be brought on the fold, and kind of him having to trust another droid. This one maybe not as well as equipped as IG, but definitely putting his faith in him. And then this kind of leads to the big, surprise for the episode for me to start off with. That first the title was Mines of Mandalore, and you go like, oh, is he already going there, or does this mean he's doing more research? But no, he goes straight to Mandalore. Really caught me off guard. I was not expecting that in the second episode. So we get to Mandalore. R5 quickly goes missing once he starts exploring. I guess the second little logic thing I had an issue with is he goes like, well, I guess I'll just pressurize my helmet out and go and look for him. Well, if he could pressurize his helmet, why did he need a droid to begin with? Not exactly sure. I guess to kind of analyze the atmosphere. That seemed like a big side quest or something that maybe he didn't necessarily need as much as it made it seem like he needed. But I still get where he's coming from, but that was just like a little nitpick on my side. He goes looking for R5, and he gets attacked by these creatures that we later find out are actually native to the planet of Mandalore. They were kind of scavengers and stuff like that. To me, they actually reminded me of the creatures from H.G. Wells' The Time Machine. So it's almost like going in the future of Mandalore. So that was kind of a spooky element of this episode. I don't know if that was a purposeful reference to the Time Machine, or if that's just something that I thought of and nobody else is going to think of. I don't know, but they obviously, I think a lot of the Star Wars stuff does enjoy referencing other movies and stuff like that, so it wouldn't shock me if this was referencing the Time Machine, but could be completely off on that. Anyway, Dan quickly takes care of these creatures. He finds R5, And they find out the atmosphere is okay, so they get Grogu, and they begin to explore to try to find the Mines of Mandalore. I really was kind of enjoying the visuals of the planet. I should say all the ruins and stuff was very, very in some ways beautiful, but also haunting. To kind of know this was a grand civilization that has been completely destroyed. Throughout the episode, when Din, was kind of talking to Grogu about what Mandalore used to be like, and then when Bo-Katan comes in later, I kept on expecting some sort of flashback, like just a visual of like, oh, this is what the city looked like, thriving with people. And I wonder if we'll get that at some point. We just didn't get it in this episode. But anyway, so they begin exploring. They see a few more little creatures lurking about, which makes it clear that this planet can support life. And then Dan kind of sees a helmet buried in the ground, and as he gets it out, a trap is sprung, and some sort of droid / biological creature has seized Din. Grogu falls behind. We see Din taken to this lab where he's put in this trap to kind of hold him in place, and basically Grogu attempts to save him with the Force. He can't, and Din just said, go get Bo-Katan. So this, I guess, would lead to my second issue with the episode. And really, I only have those two big episodes of issues. The first one's I already mentioned, and the second one's this. So we have Grogu going to see Bo. He's obviously gone for a little bit of a time. We don't know how much, but obviously it's going to be some amount of time. We kind of see the situation that Dan is in when Grogu leaves. When Bo-Katan and Grogu is fixing to get back, we see this creature insert something in the den to start drawing his blood. But other than that, it doesn't look like anything has happened since Grogu's been gone. It's almost like this creature waited, like, all right, let me hit pause until this rescue attempt starts, and then I'll start back doing stuff on you. So I'm sure that's not the case. I'm sure there's probably some other things he was probably doing with it, but that just wasn't clear from when we see him again when Grogu gets back. So I kind of wish they had done a couple little, or maybe just one little scene of all Grogu was gone, showing this kind of droid biological creature. I'm not sure exactly what it is. Maybe somebody else kind of knows this is something that's been referenced in another Star Wars book or comic or something like that. But if you'd shown that creature doing a couple things to, maybe setting up equipment or doing something else to Din, anything, just to show like, oh, he was doing stuff. I know when we get back, it doesn't look like he had done anything, but he was doing stuff other than just like making it seem like, oh, he just sat around and waited until the rescue attempt started to actually start doing stuff to Din. So that was my other kind of, I guess, complaint about the episode. But that way, Grogu gets Bo. We see her again. She's obviously very depressed when she's informed by a droid that you have an unexpected visitor. She sees the ship. She gets very frustrated. It's like, let's just kick him out. I'm done with him. But when she sees Grogu by himself, it's like her instinct kicks back in. It's like, what's wrong and how can I help? Which I love that, because I think that's kind of the old Bo-Katan kind of coming out. You're almost giving her a mission. I think that's somewhat her issue. Without the Darksaber, she kind of lost her purpose and didn't have anything to try to focus on. And now she has something to focus on. Like, let me rescue Din. Let me help this person. Because like everybody else, I love Grogu. So I love seeing the old Bo-Katan come out. We get back to Mandalore. Get back to the where Din's being held, where seemingly nothing's been done with him. Very cool fight scene with Bo and this creature. Loved when she got the Darksaber, because obviously she has experience with it. She knows how to use it better than Din. So I wonder, maybe she'll train Din some with it. I don't know. Initially I thought like, oh, is this how she gets the Darksaber? Now she just has it, but she gives it back. Well, I should say you see Din equip himself later with it. So I guess that didn't count as winning the Darksaber. But she destroys this creature. I like the fake out when you first think she's killed it, and then the biological part kind of exits the first droid body and enters the second droid body, and then she has to fight and kill it again. We obviously see a lot of Mandalorian helmets and armor around there, so I'm assuming that's implying this creature has been here for a while, and maybe other Mandalorians have been searching through the city over the course of history since the Empire destroyed the planet, and this creature has been capturing and killing them all. So maybe that's part of the reason why people think the planet is cursed, is people go there and they never come back, partly because of this creature. Maybe I'm guessing that was implied. I'm also kind of curious. I would have loved the line from Bo or somebody, like after she rescues Din and going like, what was happening? And Din goes like, or Bo goes, I don't know. You know, some people on the black market will pay a lot of money for Mandalorian blood, so maybe that's what they were doing. I'm kind of curious about that. I would like to know a little bit more about that, but sometimes we're just not going to know everything. You have to accept it. Once Din recovers a little bit, we go actually to the Mines of Mandalore. I really love the scene where Bo is kind of talking about when she went to the living waters of the mines and took the creed, and the entire planet watched. You could tell she was kind of looking back at a happier time in her life, and really is not snapped out of it until Din says something about her father, and she says, you know, he died defending Mandalore. Because you can tell that brought up that pain to her again. But then when he says, this is the way, you see almost like a level of like, you know, like, thank you for that. Thank you for respecting my father that way. I love when we get to the Mines of Mandalore and we see the living waters, and Bo's like, let me give you the full tour, and starts reading the plaque. I relate to that as somebody that's a big history nerd. Anytime I'm walking around a city and I see a plaque on a building that's clearly a historical plaque, I always stop and read it. So I loved the plaque element. That was very cool. We get the reference to the mythosaur, which is going to come up, because then as Din goes into the waters, it quickly falls. I don't know if I think it's implying that he just sunk and wasn't attacked by the creature and pulled down. I don't know. I'm assuming that's what's implied, because then we don't really see the creature around him until we get down there, and Bo is bringing him back up, and then we see an eye open up. And then we get a little bit more view of the creature. It's like, I'm assuming this is the mythosaur, which just is amazing. I was not expecting to see this in the season at all, the series in general. I heard a couple people speculate it, but I didn't think that was going to happen. So if this is what they're teasing, that is amazing. It makes me very excited to see episode 3, because I'm going to see episode 3 is going to start off with this creature coming out of the water, and we have a battle. And it's going to be amazing. So overall, really love this episode. I love Bo-Katan's character so much. Her interaction with Din is amazing, because you're getting these two different views of what it means to be a Mandalorian and what Mandalorian duty is. You obviously have a more jaded view from for Bo, I should say, and Din, who's a true believer and a kind of belonging to an extremist cult. And we kind of see this contrasting views on what it means to be a Mandalorian and what's the future of the Mandalorian people. Like I said, overall, really love this episode. Just had a couple issues with a couple of those logic points I brought up, but overall, great episode, and I definitely preferred it over the season premiere. So in the comment section below, let me know, what did you think of the episode? What did you like? What didn't you like? I'm curious to see everybody's feedback. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button. If you haven't yet, please subscribe to the channel. I appreciate the support. Thanks for watching. I'll see you the next time, and may the Force be with you.